This year at E3, Microsoft showcased the newest installment in their flagship series, Halo, with the new Halo Infinite. Not to be outdone, EA showcased their newest installment in the Battlefield series, Battlefield 2042. Pretty exciting news for fans of either of the series, but let's take the rose-tinted glasses off for a second. Can we trust that either of these games are going to be the saviors for the longest running franchises in gaming? Or are they just going to be further blunders? Blunders? Blunders. Blunders. Blunder. We trust that either of these games will actually save their franchises. Or could they end up being the final nail in the coffin and we never see another Halo or Battlefield again? I'm John Hoppin and welcome to the very first episode of our new show, Gamer Gab. After the last installments in either of these franchises, Halo 5 Guardians in 2015 and Battlefield 5 in 2018 were both met with criticisms and hemorrhaging player counts, all while games like Fortnite and Call of Duty Warzone have been absolutely dominant in YouTube and Twitch. There has been an obvious trend what is going to make your game flourish since about 2016. Now, to Halo 5's credit, in 2015, craze really wasn't there. Nobody really talked about BRs unless you played PlayerUnknown's Battleground. So they have an excuse there. I'm not gonna rag on them for not having a Battle Royale at that time. But taking away that excuse kind of also leaves everything else up to talk about. Probably a little worse, because then the core mechanics of the game at the time weren't up to satisfaction. So why did Halo 5 not go well? Wasn't a bad game, it just wasn't. And I hate to say this because, I mean, one, I agree, but two, I think it's kind of childish, but it wasn't a good Halo game. It really wasn't a Halo, it didn't feel like a Halo game at all. It felt like a mockery of what Halo could be. There were just so many things that the developers changed that people did not like. I'm not gonna get into the details of it in this video, but the biggest problem for a lot of players were the core design changes made within the game. But besides that, there were also plenty of other issues. You know, there were server problems. There was no split screen, which in 2015, you know, think, why would you want split screen in a game? It really doesn't matter. Because it's Halo, and Halo was built on split screen multiplayer. It was the first game to really ever do it, and then accuse each other of screen peeking, which we all did. There was no denying it. Anybody else's brother try and hide in like obscure corners so that way if you ever found them they could then just accuse you of screen peeking? My brother did that. Of course I screen peeked, you pussy. I'm younger than both of my brothers, so they had no excuse to be worse than me. There was no Forge mode at launch, which players could then create their own game modes, which I don't know how you release a Halo game without Forge. I remember spending hours in the Forge world on Halo Reach. But and then on top of all of that, the campaign took you on a journey of chasing down a childhood hero as some new characters. You know what? I hate Locke. He's a punk. He might be handsome, but he got his ass kicked. What about DICE? What about Battlefield 5? Well, in 2018, Battle Royales were everything. I was playing the hell out of them. Everybody was. At this point, Fortnite had the gaming industry by the balls for the last 2 years, and somehow EA and DICE managed to not have a Battle Royale game mode ready at launch. Nobody cared to play Battlefield 5. Why didn't the hardcore fans at least stay? Because their game mode was then ruined too. Basically what they did is they implemented the down but not out system seen in a lot of Battle Royales into their multiplayer. So you get shot by, a tank, you'd kind of sit up and put your hand out like, hey, can you come help me? And that would last for about 5 to 10 seconds. And then you'd have to go through everything else that you usually would, instead of just, being dead on the floor and then maybe being revived by a medic like they have been doing for the last 10 years. It's still in the game. They didn't remove it. It's still how the game functions, and it sucks. I personally see it as one of the biggest travesties in gaming because it's such a beautiful game and there's so much detail in it. It's obvious that DICE put everything into this game. It didn't have the usual Battlefield gameplay, and then it also didn't have what was popular at the time, which was Battle Royales, at least at launch. They did end up releasing a Battle Royale mode, but at that point it was way too late. The campaign reused the War Stories system like it did in Battlefield 1, which I really liked. Cast was great. In fact, they had Gaz from COD 4.
Knife the watermelon. Nice! Your fruit killing skills are remarkable.
A good cast for the campaign obviously doesn't save the multiplayer from being absolute dog. All right, dude, we get it. What? The last games from these series weren't great. What does this mean for the new releases? What makes you think that I know? I'm putting my glasses back on. I look cooler like that anyway. Cover up as much of that ugly mug as you can. We appreciate that. The best I can do is speculate. I think these games are gonna sell like hell, at least at first. Battlefield 2042 has a lot of hype around it right now. And after the Rendezvous clip from the trailer, I'm gonna be honest, after that one, I needed some time to myself. And now with their new 128 player servers, it seems like they are also expecting quite the turnout. And from what you can tell from what we've seen, it looks like they've returned to their new multiplayer loop. I'm a lot more hopeful for Battlefield than I am Halo. I'm a little biased towards that. It's time for a bit of a confession. Back in 2012, I told my parents that I wanted Bad Company 2. And they were like, no, you can't have that because it has all of these reasons on the back where it says M for mature. It says swearing. I was like, it doesn't swear in the multiplayer though. The characters don't talk. That's just in the campaign. Don't worry about that, Mom. I'm not gonna hear any swearing. I am gonna blow that guy's head off. That ended up actually being a lie. And I knew there was swearing in the multiplayer. But I had a headset, they were never gonna hear it. But I feel like it's time, after 9 years, let this be a testament to Bad Company 2 that it was so much fun that it was worth it, the 12-year-old John, to lose all of his mother's trust. I can't think of a better stamp of approval. Well, what about Halo? I actually think it's pretty much in the same boat as Battlefield. More or less a return to form, things that we understand. Some new implementations that don't seem game-breaking. Grappling hook that they just keep showing. I mean, I will never turn down an opportunity to be Spider-Man, ever. If any game has a grapple hook in any way where I pull myself to something else via my arm, I will use it. Along the same lines as being a return to form, this is the first Halo game to be launched on PC since Halo Combat Evolved, which launched November 15th, 2001. Halo is almost as old as me, really alienating my audience. Now, Halo has a very special place in my heart. It's the first FPS I can vividly remember playing, and it was the first FPS that I ever actually owned. It was the first game that was actually mine, but that was Halo Reach, not 3. Halo to me is a lot more about the campaign than the multiplayer, I'll be honest, but that doesn't mean I'm not excited for the multiplayer. It just means that I'm more excited for the campaign. But I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't say I have confidence in it. I hope the game is good. I want it to be good. It's one of those times where I truly just don't know. Really haven't had a good Halo game, in my opinion, since 2011. It's almost 10 years without a truly successful title. The most popular games these days tend to be the ones that are most entertaining to watch, like Warzone and Fortnite. Neither of these games have a battle royale at launch. Halo Infinite is a long-term project for 343. They plan on building and expanding from this title for years. Battlefield 2042 has 3 game modes that we know exist. We don't know everything about them. We know about the big 128 player servers for like Conquest and whatnot. They have the one that they're not entirely cryptic about, about. We haven't seen anything of it, called Hazard Zone, and it's a squad-based, high-risk, high-intensity game mode. That sounds like a battle royale. It might not be exactly a battle royale, but it kind of sounds like, hey, it's gonna be you and your boys against literally everything else. Good luck. And it's incredibly close to Warzone. It's just, somebody probably should have noticed that sooner. I also haven't seen anybody really talk about it, so maybe it's not that big of a deal. But then there's another mode that they say is more or less gonna be a love letter to Battlefield fans, which I'm obviously excited for, but they've been very cryptic about it. They really haven't told us much. They said that, hey, you're just gonna need to stay tuned. I'm like, dude, I got nothing better to do. Why can't you just tell me? You hear that, EA? I'll sign an NDA, just tell me. Halo's multiplayer is actually gonna be free to play. You don't gotta pay a dime to play, and then there is gonna be a battle pass, but unlike other battle passes for games like Call of Duty or Fortnite, they don't expire. You buy in and you just play as you want. Battlefield says that one of their modes is gonna be free to play. We don't actually know which one. Everybody's kind of assuming it's that last one, which is fine. Actually, if you don't know this, Battlefield 4 recently became free to play with Twitch Prime. So if you have Twitch Prime, you can play Battlefield 4 and get ready for it. And Battlefield 4 is a great game. I've actually been playing it lately. Bottom line is, actually for both of these games, I'm very excited. And then once they come out, I'll probably be doing a much more in-depth analysis of what I think the companies did right, did wrong. Subscribe for that in like 9 months. I know that's really far down the line, but there's gonna be plenty of other entertainment along the way. There's a new episode of this show every single week on Wednesdays. There's a show on Monday, which you already missed, but you should go watch. And then there's a show on Fridays about influencers. And then actually, if you want to check in on Sundays, there's going to be a podcast for me and Michael. Which of these series do you have better memories on? And what games are you most excited to play later this year if we didn't talk about them in this video? If you've enjoyed the video, you might as well subscribe. YouTube is going to suggest our videos to you anyway. You should leave a like because it really helps us out. And if you have absolutely nothing better to do and you want to keep up to date with us, you can follow us on all social media at Shoddy Studios. And if you really want to support the channel, there's a merch store in the description down below. If you ever buy a shirt, send me a picture. Stay safe, kick gas. See you guys next time.